Namaste. I welcome everyone for the weekly reading of the divine book, Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam. The intention of this reading is to spread Lord Dattatreya's name, Lord Dattatreya's work, and my Sri Guru and my divine Guru Mohanji's work, who am I believe an incarnation of Lord Dattatreya, with obeisance to Sri Ganesha. I invoke Sri Ganesha and my gurus, first of all, to begin with this reading. So let us call upon the Divine Lord Ganesha to remove all obstacles in our heart centers and pray that may this reading bring world peace, bring peace and happiness to all the beings of Mother Earth, all the children of Mother Earth. And may this reading strengthen all the Mohanji benevolent centers that are coming upon, especially in the USA. And I request Lord Ganesha to bless us. Shuklam Baradaram Vishnum Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Dhyayet Sarva Vignopashantaye. Now I'm going to invoke my divine Guru Sri Mohanji to bless us with this reading and bless everyone who will be listening to this divine book. Om Parabrahmane Vidmahe Shivatatvaya Dhimahi Tanno Mohana Prachodaya. So, let's begin the reading of this book. We know that such books are themselves Guru Tattva, Guru Principle. So I would like to start by reading what's there on the back of this book, like how important and pious this book is. So let me first read for you what is written at the back cover of this book so that we will understand how divine this book is. The Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam is an extraordinary book about the first incarnation of Lord Dattatreya in the present age. In an exciting and entertaining way, it gives an insight into the fascinating biography of Sripada Srivallabha, his sportive plays, teachings, prophecies, and miracles. It provides a feeling of being in his very presence, participating in the events. As decreed by Sripada, the work written during his lifetime was kept secret. It would come to light during the 33rd generation of his maternal grandfather. It came to light in 2001. It was published in Telugu and has been translated by now into several languages. This edition contains a foreword by Dr. Sri K. Parvati Kumar and is supplemented with numerous footnote explanations, images, and a commented register of persons. I will remain in subtle form in every place where my biography is devotedly read. Mine is a comprehensive yogic incarnation. Great yogis and great siddhas constantly meditate upon me. Don't think that the Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam is a mere book. It is a live stream of a glorious consciousness. And I truly believe this. It is a live stream of a glorious consciousness. I'm sure, my dear viewers, my dear listeners, those who listen, those who get an opportunity to listen to this reading, definitely will experience the divine Guru Tattva. So let us start with the reading of this book. Let us start a little introduction about the author of this book, and then we will jump to the first chapter. The author and the book. The biography of Sripada Srivallabha was written by a contemporary, Shankar Bhatt. While introducing the topic of the book, the events around the first incarnation of Lord Dattatreya in Kali Yuga, the present dark age, he presents himself as coming from Karnataka, a state in the southwestern region of India. He calls himself an ignorant and illiterate person and humbly submits the entire work as an expression of Sripada's divine will and blessing. Nevertheless, he is the author of a stupendous multifaceted work of profound spirituality, well designed and written. Throughout the book, he maintains the stance of a reporter who endeavors to objectively describe what he witnesses and hears. He tries not to judge but to record events and encounters. He notes down his own experiences as well as the descriptions and teachings he hears from others. He is not writing from the perspective of an uninvolved observer, but rather allows us to participate in his inner processes. His questions, his doubts, his cries and tribulations, his awe and astonishment. He was already on a pilgrimage before he begins writing of the book. From his remarks, we can infer that he had already walked at least 1,000 kilometers, following a hint from Sri Krishna to see the deity of Sri Kanyaka Parmeshwari in a temple at the southernmost point of India. Shankar Bhatt receives the call from her to visit her brother Sripada Srivallabha in Kurvapuram. The place is located on an island in the Krishna River at a distance of about 1200 kilometers. Shankar Bhatt has never heard of Sripada before, but without any doubt, he immediately starts his epic journey, totaling several thousand kilometers. It is the year 1336. Sripada has just disappeared from his birthplace in Pitikapuram and is at that time on a tour to Kashi or Banaras and the Himalayas by yogic traveling. Shankar Bhatt is traveling by foot, sometimes by bullock carts or horse chariots, without luggage and money, not knowing how to reach the goal. He is living on alms and hospitality. He is sleeping at the places he comes along, experiencing hunger and life threatening situations. He is walking alone or with co travelers. He meets saints, frauds, and robbers, farmers and merchants, kings, housewives, and prostitutes. He encounters orthodox arrogance, s- sectarianism, lies, disputes, and even complots against Sripada, which the latter dissolves in surprising ways. Shankar Bhatt is a Brahmin, but his experiences teach him to overcome the barriers of caste and creed and feel the unity of all who are striving towards the divine. He undergoes deep transformations and is carried forward on his initiatory journey by a fiery aspiration which is strengthened by his encounters with sublime siddhas and yogis. He interrogates them about profound spiritual topics and above all about their experiences with the divine with Sripada Srivallabha. Often they knew beforehand through messages of Sripada or clairvoyant perceptions that Shankar Bhatt would be coming, and they willingly share with him fantastic stories about Sripada's effulgent presence and his miraculous playful pastimes. He gets insight into previous incarnations of people reaching far back in time, and he learns about Sripada's announcements of his own future incarnations as Sri Narsimha Saraswati and Swami Samartha. There are also many hints of future events, some of which by now already belong to the past. The book is full of unimaginable events, revelations, and wonders like cases of souls simultaneously incarnating in different bodies, or numerous cases of bringing deceased persons back to life. But the indisputable highlight is Shankar Bhatt's personal encounter with Sripada, the goal of his search. The story does not end there. Shankar Bhatt continues his journey to other places Sripada sends him. Shankar Bhatt meets his family and friends and collects more astounding stories. He finally comes to live with Sripada at Kurvapuram. There, he looks after numerous devotees coming to his wisdom teachings. He takes care of cooking and cleaning. When the food is not enough for all the visitors, Sripada sprinkles some water on it and it becomes inexhaustible. He is a first hand witness of how Sripada consoles, and he is full of love and affection. He works on the biography with a tremendous memory about names and details of events. He writes the Charitamrutam on Burjapatra, that means bark leaves of the Indian birch tree, and he writes it in Sanskrit. The book has a strange history. After the disappearance of Sripada, Shankar Bhatt continues to live in Kurvapuram for 3 more years, completing the text, and Sripada appears to him every night at midnight. After finishing the Charitamrutam, he reads it with 5 persons. He knows from Sripada that it won't be published immediately after a Telugu version is created. His Sanskrit version will vanish and will be transported to a subterranean location under the birthplace of Sripada. The Telugu version will come to light in the 33rd generation of the family of Sripada's maternal grandfather after a certain sign for this is given. Then the book will be published and it will be translated into many languages, including German. Sripada's name will start spreading all over the world, and millions of people will be attracted to his samsthanam, the temple at the birthplace of Sripada. The sign for the reappearance of the book was given in 1999 to Malladi Govinda Dikshitulu, a member of the 33rd generation of the family of Sripada's maternal grandfather. He copied the Telugu text from the old manuscript. Then he immersed the old copy in Krishna River at Vijayawada as prophesied and brought a copy to the Samsthanam for the publication of the book. You find the details in Mr. Dikshitulu's description at the end of this book, and also the words of Sri Sajjanagada Ramaswamy, the late spiritual leader of the Mahasamsthanam, giving more information. The book is partly not easy to read. You will encounter numerous names of persons and deities, unfamiliar concepts and expressions. To help the reader, the present edition is enriched with many footnote explanations and a commented register of persons. The best, however, is to read the book with an open mind and heart, not trying to understand everything. Dear listeners, this is very important. We need to have an open mind and heart, not trying to understand everything. Try to feel this book. We would like to express our gratitude to the following persons and institutions. To the late Mr. Malladi Govinda Dikshitalu for bringing the Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam to light. To Mrs. Lakshmi Nagasethu, who brought the book to our attention and established the contact with the Samsthanam. To Sri Sajjanagada Ramaswamy and the President of Mahasamsthanam, P.T. Kapura, for giving the translation and publishing rights. The translator of their English first version, Mr. Perappa Sri Ramamurthy, who also gave some help to the president of Sri Datta Vishwarupa Samiti, Tadepalli Gudem, and Mr. Valavala Surya Narayana for giving the translation of publishing rights regarding their English publication done by Dr. J. Satya Prasad, who gave us his corrected vision, to Mr. Kirti Vallabha for sharing with us his ongoing English translation, and Mr. Srinivas Aruganti for helping in this. The presence and guidance of Sripada Srivallabha was clearly felt by all who worked on this translation. It is his work finding expression in this way. To him belongs our deepest gratitude. May he continue to direct the book to the hearts of the readers. My dear listeners, there is some more name that are mentioned by the publishers in a small paragraph, which I'm not reading as of now. If you want, you can read the footnote that is published by the publishers in this book. I wanted to read the main points of this book and let it out to you as to how some information about the author who wrote this book, who was Shankar Bhatt. If you have any comments, I would love to hear your comments here on YouTube, and let me know if you have. If you have, I hope you can all listen to me well. Okay, so let us start with our first chapter. And before I start the first chapter, I would like to ask for forgiveness if I am mispronouncing any name, because this book is in English and the names are can be better read in Devanagari or script, So I will try my best to pronounce the names properly, but if any mistakes, please forgive me. I truly humbly offer my pranams to Sripada Srivallabha and start the reading of the first chapter. Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. Chapter 1. The encounter between Shankar Bhatt and Vyāghreswara Sarma. My salutations to Sri Mahaganapati, Sri Mahasaraswati, lineage of my preceptors, Sri Krishna Bhagwan, and all gods and goddesses. I propose to describe the glory of Sripada Srivallabha, the latest manifestation of Lord Datta. He is the Lord of innumerable universes. Sri Dattatreya is the oldest and the eternal one. Sri Dattatreya has incarnated in his Kali Yuga as Sripada Srivallabha in the city of Pithapuram, which is situated in the Godavari region of Andhra Pradesh. It is impossible even for the great scholars to describe the grandeur of his divine play. I'm completely ignorant and illiterate. Therefore, I submit in all humility that my attempt to portray his life history is only an account of his will, divine order, and his divine blessings. My name is Shankar Bhatt. I belong to Karnataka Desa. I am from the Smartha sect and hail from Bharadwaja Gotra. I went to the holy town of Udupi on pilgrimage to visit Bhagwan Shri Krishna in his temple. There, the infant Krishna, with a beautifully colored peacock feather adorning his head, gave me his darshan. He ordered me to visit Goddess Shri Kanyaka Parmeshwari in Kanyakumari. I took holy bath in the confluence of the three oceans there. One Tuesday, I entered the temple to see the goddess. The priest was performing the worship of the deity very sincerely. He took red colored flowers from my hand and began to worship her. My dear listeners, while I'm reading this, please imagine all this. And it's such a beautiful way of imagining the Devi and the Dattatreya's present amidst us. He took the red colored flowers from my hand and began to worship her. At that time, the mother saw me with her benevolent looks and said, Shankara, I am pleased with the sacred devotion in your heart. Go to Kurvapuram and take the darshan of Sripada Srivallabha and obtain fulfillment of your birth. By the mere darshan of Sripada Srivallabha, an undefinable experience will accrue to your mind, Atma, and all your organs. Thus, I received the grace of Mother Goddess and started from that holy place. On my way, I reached a village called Marutva Malai, which was at a short distance from Kanyakumari. I learned that while Hanuman was carrying the Sanjeevani mountain from the Himalayas, a small piece of it had fallen here, and therefore this village is called Marutwa Malai. Marutwa Malai. The hill in the village of Marutwa Malai is beautiful to behold. There are some caves in it. I learned that the area is a hilly tract inhabited by Siddha Purushas undertaking penance in an invisible form. I was looking into those caves with the hope of seeing any great person. I was hoping to get lucky by seeing one of them. However, a tiger was standing at the entrance of one cave. At the sight of the tiger, trembling and tremor started in all my limbs. Agitated with great fear, I cried aloud at once, Sripada Srivallabha Dattaprabhu, in despair. The tiger stood still like a domestic animal. An aged sage emerged from the cave. The entire area of Marutva Malai reverberated with the name of Sripada Srivallabha all at once. Then the old sage said, My son, you are a fulfilled one. Only great siddhas, great yogis, wise men, and paramhamsas who dwell in nirvikalpa samadhi realize that Lord Datta has incarnated as Sripada Srivallabha in this Kali Yuga. You could come here only because you are lucky. This is a land of spiritual pursuit. It is Siddha Bhumi. Your desire will get satisfied. You will certainly be rewarded with the meeting of Shripada. The tiger at the entrance of the cave is a Jnani. I advise you to salute him. Then I saluted that wise person who was in the form of a tiger. Immediately the tiger roared the sound Om. The whole of Marutwamalai resounded with that roaring sound. It had also melodiously sung the prayer, Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. I was watching this wonderful scene. All the atoms in the form of tiger disintegrated, and a man with a lustrous celestial body manifested there. The celestial person paid obeisance to the old sage and flew into the sky with his luminous body. The old sage, who was before me, smiled. He invited me into the cave. I entered the cave silently. A stream of compassion was flowing from the eyes of the aged sage. He created fire by the power of his will. He created sacred materials, some sweets and fruits, for offering them as an oblation to the sacred fire. He offered those things into the sacred fire while chanting Vedic hymns. The eighth sage observed all righteous rules like yagna and yaga are getting extinct. All righteous rules like yagna and yaga are getting extinct in the world. Man who is benefited from the five elements is forgetting the deity who is the embodiment of the five elements. Yagnas are to be performed for the gratification of the deities. Deities get gratified from the sacrifices. Nature becomes favorable because of their grace. Man cannot survive when any force in nature turns virulent. Calamities occur if the forces of nature are not appeased. If man departs from the righteous path, dangerous developments are caused by the forces of nature. I perform this sacrifice for the welfare of the world. Yagna or yajna means fusion. Fortunately, you have witnessed this sacrifice. As a result of witnessing this sacrifice, you will get the darshan of Sripada Srivallabha, who is an incarnation of Sri Datta. This is a very rare fortune. The merit earned in many births will suddenly fructify and give such unattainable fortune. I saluted that great personage and said, Great one among siddhas, I am not a scholar or a yogi. I am not a devotee. I am an ignoramus. Kindly take complete mercy on me and clear some of my doubts. The old hermit agreed to it. Then I prayed, O great Siddha, when I visited Goddess Mother Sri Kanyaka Parmeshwari, she directed me to go to Kurvapuram for the darshan of Sripada Srivallabha. Here I saw you and the great one in the form of a tiger. Who is that great person in the guise of a tiger? Who really is Sripada Srivallabha? Kindly clarify my doubts and favor me. That eighth sage began his narration. My son, in the Godavari region of Andhra Pradesh, there is an ancient village called Atreyapuram, who was famous as a land where sage Atri conducted austerities. In that village, a Brahmin was born in the Gotra of Kashyapa or Kasyapa in an orthodox family. His parents named him Vyāghreswara Sarma. Even though his father was a great scholar, the son became an incorrigible idiot. In spite of educational training for a long time, he could not even perform the Gayatri Mantra prayer at the prescribed times of the day. He could only utter the Sanskrit words to the effect that it was Vyāghreswara Sarma who was saluting. He became disturbed by the taunting words of others. The ill treatment by his parents had also increased. As a Brahmin priest, he was not called to attend any auspicious functions. He was only asked to accept gift of gingerly seeds or attend death anniversary ceremonies in case of extreme emergencies when no one else was available. These acts are considered very mean and are performed only by the lowest among the Brahmins who have not mastered any education. So, a feeling of inferiority complex developed in him. He heard that great ascetics live in the Himalayas, and by their grace one can realize knowledge of the self. Once during dawn, he had a dream. In that dream, he saw a celestial body radiating with divine effulgence. The body was descending to the earth from the firmament. As soon as his divine feet touched, the earth was filled with heavenly illumination. The divine child approached Vyāghreswara Sarma with slow steps and asserted, why fear when I am here? There is a bondage of debt between me and this village. Without the bondage of indebtedness, even a dog cannot come to us. Go to Badrikaranya in the Himalayan region, and you will be blessed with auspiciousness. Saying so, the celestial disappeared. Vyāghreswara Sarma reached Badrikaranya. He was getting food on the way without much effort. However, a dog was following him from the beginning of the journey. He was wandering along with the dog in the Badrikaranya. In his wanderings, he took a holy bath in the Urvashi Kunda. The dog also took a holy bath along with him. At that time, a great sage accompanied by his disciples came to Urvasi Kunda for religious ablutions. Vyāghreswara prostrated at the feet of the great personage and prayed to accept him as a disciple. The great person kindly consented. The dog disappeared immediately when the great one accepted Vyāghreswara as his disciple. The great person averred, Vyāghreswara, that dog which followed you is the personification of the merit earned by you in previous births. Goaded by time, you could come here and you could take bath in Urvashi Kunda. You are attracted towards the land of penance by Navanarayanas. All this is the grace of Sripada Srivallabha. Vyāghreswara Sarma bowed down and asked, Master, who is Sripada Srivallabha? How did his grace shower on me? The Siddha replied at length to the questions posed to him. My son, Sripada Srivallabha is Lord Datta himself. In Treta Yuga, Bharadwaj Maharishi conducted a huge sacrifice known as Savitrakataka Chayanamu in Pithapuram. He invited Shiva and Parvati to that function. In Pyagmya Brahmana text, it was mentioned that many great persons, siddhas and yogis, are born in the lineage of Bharadwaja in accordance with the boon granted by Shiva and Parvati to him. Even though they were lost in other parts of the country, Pyamgya Brahmanam and Sandra Sindhu Veda were carefully preserved in Shambhala village, the land of incarnation of Kalki. At the end of Kali Yuga and the beginning of Satyuga, Sripada Srivallabha, an incarnation of Sri Datta, will arrive in Pithapuram in physical form. Only when the sins committed in many births get diminished and when good deeds start giving results, devotion to Datta will develop. When devotion to Datta becomes perfect, Sripada Srivallabha will grant the wealth of sight, touch, and speech in any age and at any time. As the meritorious deeds of your past lives are strong, the mercy of Sripada Srivallabha showers on you. I am now leaving for meeting my preceptor Mahavatar Babaji. I will return after 1 year. Practice Kriya Yoga in the caves reserved for you and attempt the realization of self knowledge. Thus instructing, the sage left for Dronagiri in the region of Sanjeevani mountain. Vyāghreswara Sarma sat in the cave assigned to him. He could not understand the methods of Kriya Yoga or the preaching of self knowledge. He was thinking like this: Guruji used to call me lovingly as Vyaghra, tiger. All my co disciples are sitting on the skin of a tiger and are meditating. When the skin of the tiger is so sacred and benefits the yogi so much, how much greater the tiger should be. Moreover, Guruji asked me to strive for knowledge of self. Self means myself only. What have I got to do with others? My name is Vyāghreswara, therefore I should be a tiger only. So I have to meditate upon the tiger only. This is my Atma. If I could get the form of tiger, it amounts to my attaining self knowledge. 1 year passed easily. The Guru visited the place. He went to each cave and observed the progress made by his disciples in their spiritual quest. He could not find Vyāghreswara in his cave. Instead, a tiger was resting in the cave. Sri Guruji analyzed the matter through his yogic insight. He realized that as Vyāghreswara meditated intensely upon the form of Vyaghra, which is tiger, he got transformed into a tiger. Guruji felt happy at the pure heart and cleanliness of the self of his disciple. He blessed him and taught him to utter Om. He asked him to constantly repeat the words Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prapadye as a mantra. Vyāghreswara reached near Kurvapuram in the form of a tiger. To reach Kurvapuram, one has to cross a river. At that time, Sripada Srivallabha was with the congregation of his devotees. He suddenly announced, "A great devotee of mine is calling me. I will go and immediately return." Saying so, he began walking on the water in his lustrous body. When Sripada Srivallabha was walking on the water in this manner, a lotus flower was emerging from water at every spot where he was placing his sacred foot. He arrived at the river bank on the other side and saw Vyāghreswara, who was incessantly chanting the mantra Sripada Rajam Sharanam Prapadye. Vyāghreswara paid obeisance to the auspicious divine feet of Sripada Srivallabha. Srivallabha mounted on the tiger and crossed the river floating on the water on the back of the tiger and reached Kurvapuram. All the people were witnessing this spectacle in utter astonishment. According to Datta Purana, Sri Dattatreya incarnated as Dharma Shasta. When that Lord took birth as the son of Harihara, He arrived at the capital of the kingdom riding on a tiger. Devendra took the form of the tiger and served as a vehicle for Ayyappa Swami or Dharmashastra. Some people were of the opinion that Sri Vallabha was verily Dharmashastra himself. Goddess Amba rides both on a lion and tiger also. So some people were of the opinion that Sri Vallabha was an inseparable form of the universal mother goddess. The moment Sri Vallabha dismounted from the tiger after reaching Kurvapuram, the tiger fell dead. A great person with divine brilliance came out of the body of the tiger. He prayed to Sri Vallabha to use the skin of the tiger form of his previous birth as his seat. Sri Charana consented for that. With overflowing love, Sri Vallabha said, "My son Vyāghreswara, in one of your births, you were a very strong wrestler. During that life, you were indulging in all sorts of cruel acts. Those activities include fighting with tigers, injuring them, capturing them, famishing them, and arranging their exhibitions for the recreation of people. On account of the past sinful acts, you are to take animal births in many lives. But with my grace, all that accumulated sin is cancelled in this life of a tiger. As you remained in the form of a tiger for a long time, you can assume that the form at will you can assume that form at will at any time. I am granting you this boon. You will meet and obtain the blessings of many siddhas who are carrying out penance in the Himalayas from hundreds of years. May you rise to great heights in the path of yoga. Sripada blessed Vyāghreswara in the above manner. When Shankar Bhatt saw previously What Shankar Bhatt saw previously was actually the same Vyāghreswara Sarma as a tiger. He lives in the Himalayas. Great sages are averse to public contact. This man stands as a sentinel for such yogis and guards against disturbances from common folk. Great hermits have a system of transmitting ideas and news amongst themselves. They need not come out of their places or employ messengers for that purpose. However, for the sake of sport, they employ Vyāghreswara to exchange news. This is all the divine play of Lord Datta. My dear Shankar Bhatt, before the creation, there was the first couple. When a wife becomes pregnant, she will have some desires. It is the duty of the husband to fulfill her desires. When Sharvani became pregnant, Parmeshwara asked her if she had any desire. Then Sharvani said, Lord, I experienced all pleasures having the body of a female. I do not know how the experience would be when having a male body. Hence, please oblige me. Parmeshwara said, Let it be so. Immediately, Sharvani took the form of a male. That was the form of Mahavishnu. There was no way for the baby inside her to come out. Then a lotus sprouted from the umbilicus of Mahavishnu. From that lotus, Brahma was born and started creation. Sri Mahavishnu created the form of Sharvani again from his body. The secrets of gods and their place are unthinkable. In this way, Sri Mahavishnu and Parvati became brother and sister. On the full moon day in the month of Shravana, Parvati Devi tied Rakhi to Sri Mahavishnu and said, Brother, Sri Bhola Shankar uh, grants boons to everyone without thinking about propriety or feasibility. Every such time you are manifesting in avatars with your Vishnu Maya to kill demons, thus saving my Mangalyam. Brother, let this practice of tying Rakhi remain forever as a symbol of love between brother and sister. Sri Mahavishnu said Tathastu. Tathastu. In accordance with this pledge only, when there was a trouble from Brahmasura, Sri Vishnu took the form of Mohini and annihilated him. Vishnu Maya is unthinkable. It is difficult to guess that it would be like this or that. Dharmashastra was born to Mohini and Shankara. After Dharmashastra was born, Mohini disappeared. Dharmashastra later took the avatar of Ayyappa Swami in Kali Yuga. There is divine secret in this. Dharmashastra is none other than Sri Mahavishnu. In that form, Brahma and Rudra also merged with Sri Mahavishnu. So we can say that it is the Lord Dattatreya with those three forms merging. When Parmeshwari manifested as the daughter of Pandya Bhupala with the name of Meenakshi, Parmeshwar manifested himself as Sundareshwar. Sri Mahavishnu performed the marriage of Meenakshi and Sundareshwar, but when Parmeshwari manifested herself as Sri Kanaka Parmeshwari, the marriage did not take place. But the Sripada Srivallabha manifestation is beyond place and time. Sri Vallabha manifested himself in Pithapuram in Kali Yuga, but that same form of Sri Vallabha was there from the very beginning of creation in divine luminous worlds. The divine place of Sripada for 30 years from 1320 AD when he was born in Pitikapuram till 1350 AD when he disappeared in Kurvapuram cannot be comprehended even by the seven rishis. How can we understand? I questioned, Swami, we are now in 1336 AD. Will that mean that Sri Vallabha will remain on earth for the next 14 years only? Will, his, will he end his avatar so early? Sadguru Dev said, My dear, if Sri Vallabha is born, then there will be retreat. However, his play has no birth or death. He is not affected by time and space. King Agrasena, who was a contemporary of Sri Krishna, was ruling a kingdom in the Aryavartam. He was a Vaishya. Some of the descendants, my dear listeners, just give me 1 minute. Okay. He was a Vaishya. Some of the descendants of that king used to do business in the south. Some were staying with the families of king's relatives in Brihatsila Nagaram in the Andhra region. One relative of King Agrasena by name Kusuma Shreshti was ruling that region in accordance with Dharma with Brihatsila Nagaram as his capital. The Kusuma Shreshti couple were righteous people with good conduct. They were doing many good deeds like yajnas and yagas. Bhaskaracharya was the guru of the king and very close to Kusuma Shreshti. Jagan Mata took birth in their house as Sri Kanaka Parameshwari. Sripada Srivallabha made a part of him of him be born in their house. He was named Virupaksha. In the past, Ravana pleased Kailasavasa to obtain the Atmalingam. Ravana then asked for a mean boon. Per the boon, Jagannatha accompanied him in Bhadrakali form. The Atmalingam fell on the ground at Gokarna Kshetram and got established there. My dear, the glory of Gokarna Kshetram is great. There is a divine secret relationship among Vaishya caste, Gokarnas, and Gokarna Kshetram. Even though Ravana was killed, one part of him took birth in Kali Yuga as a king who was blinded by lust. Amba expressed her Bhadrakali form in another way in Kali Yuga. Along with her, some relatives of king's family offered themselves to the Agni and expressed their self-respect according to the tradition of the kingdom of Aryavarta. Thus, Sri Kanaka Parmeshwari reached her Lord Nagareshwar. Before Amba was born, Kusuma Shreshti couple did many sacrifices. Kusuma Shreshti used to take milk and gold from only one family of their relative. They had the house name named Pinda. When you go to Pitikapuram, you will meet a Mahatma, a descendant from that family. Now you go to Kurvapuram and have darshan of Sri Vallabha. Thus saying, the great Siddha gave his blessings to Shankar Bhatt and then disappeared with a luminous body. Victory onto Sripada Srivallabha. Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. Dear viewers, here we complete the first chapter reading of Sripada Srivallabha Charitamrutam. Let us all chant Sripada's victory and chant 3 times Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. Close your eyes. Imagine Sripada Srivallabha in your heart centers. And let us chant Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. Sripada Rajyam Sharanam Prapadye. Jai Shri Guru Datta. We will continue the reading of this chapter next Sunday at 6:30 p.m. EST at the same time. Thank you so much. Thank you all.